Good to see everybody here. Appreciate your prayers and support of recent times. It means a lot. We'll see how long my voice lasts today. I remember which pocket I put stuff in. I need a volunteer today who can follow some instructions and does not take them. I wrote it pretty big, so I think you're all right. For now, just take a look at those and be familiar with them, and I'll give you some instructions regarding them later. I have a word of prayer before we begin. Father in heaven, as we open your word, I pray that you would just send your Spirit to be with us today. Help us to understand how to apply your will to life. In Jesus' name, amen. A common way of organizing tasks is to assign them a priority and a designation of important, not important, urgent, not urgent. For example, we were taught you draw a cross on a paper, divide it into 4 quadrants, and up here you have the important. That's the top 2 boxes. Low boxes, unimportant. On this side you've got urgent, and this side not urgent. So you can have something that's not important and not urgent but urgent, urgent and important, or important but not urgent. And of course the idea is that you arrange your schedule so you deal with things that are important before they become urgent. But anyway, that's all fine and good. But how do you decide what is important? So if we were to think of some random things and put it on our little grid, where would you put the fire alarms going off? Important? Is it urgent? Yeah. And by urgent, we mean if you don't address it immediately, the opportunity to address it or the event will pass away. For example, the phone is ringing. It is important. Depending upon your interpretation, maybe important, maybe not important, but is it urgent? According to my definition, yes, because if you don't answer it, it's just going to stop ringing and that opportunity goes away. Does that make sense, according to that definition of urgent? So it has a sense of immediacy. You have to deal with it right now, or else that opportunity will no longer exist. So the opportunity to answer the phone goes away if you don't answer it right away. Therefore, that's urgent according to that definition. All right, let's try some other things. Washing the car. Important? Is it urgent? No, not urgent. Important or not? We might have a discussion about that, right? All right, going fishing. Important or not important? Important and urgent from the balcony. Different people will come to different conclusions about what is important, correct? Vacuuming the floors every week. Important or not important? I see some heads going up and some heads going side to side. Is it urgent? Probably not. You see, one task might be considered mundane by one person and absolutely vital to another. New Year's resolutions are often a way of expressing what's important to us and what is going to have a priority focus for the coming year. Of course, the cultural joke is that New Year's resolutions are never kept, right? Why is that? And I think it's not just New Year's resolutions that fall by the wayside. Our professed priorities in life in general tend to be different than our actual behavior. For example, We might know that we are supposed to say that daily Bible study, devotions, and prayer are a priority, that they are important, maybe even urgent, but surveys reveal that 80% of attending members spend less than 10 minutes per week in those activities. We may say that attending church is a priority, but too often, any excuse not to will do, ranging from being tired from working all week, or having guests coming in, or, oh, the weather's too nice, got to go fishing. Anything will do. We may say that we value our children, and we know that we're supposed to say that our children are our top priority in life, but statistics show that the average child gets only 10 to 15 minutes of direct attention from a parent every day. No wonder our generation of children is growing up adopting a different set of values. We say that we value our health, and our health is our absolute top priority, and we would do anything to be in good health and maintain our health. But look what we put in our bodies. You can find the same people who say they value their health, stuffing their faces with all kinds of things that they know is not healthy. And add to this reality, the reality that our priorities themselves often change, and that our priorities are subject to various interpretations of worth, just like the varied opinions of how important it is to do X, Y, or Z. Perhaps a sense of a lack of confidence in the true values of our chosen priorities leads us to regard them then with less resolve and more vacillating pursuit of that which seems close at hand or most immediately gratifying. So, we end up behaving more like a silly house dog chasing its own tail in circles, instead of a working sheepdog purposefully guiding a herd towards a destination. One does not have to listen to a TV political punditry discussion very long to discover that this lack of consensus about what is truly important pervades every aspect of life. In every arena of experience, there are strident proponents of mutually exclusive views, each convinced that they are right and everyone else is wrong. In an interview recently, Elon Musk decries the rise of lawlessness and the rewriting of laws to accommodate current woke social agendas. And he says that there is an objective standard of right and wrong, and you just can't make up whatever. Now, that's a remarkable statement. And one might tend to agree with him on the surface, but I have to wonder, what does he believe that objective standard is? He doesn't claim to follow God. So what does he believe is the objective standard of right and wrong, which people and governments should adhere to? Is there a way to filter tasks and priorities according to some objective standard of their value? How do you decide? What goes through your head when you're trying to decide what is important or what is not important? When you're trying to sort out and filter the mountain of tasks that you could potentially do, that you do not have time to do them all, what goes through your head when you're deciding this, not this, not this? Is it random? Do you just roll the dice and whatever? Is it up to whatever pleases you? Yeah, I like doing that and I don't like doing that, so I'm going to do that. Is there some social or cultural pressure that pushes us one way or another? Do we allow the tide of the opinion of society and our peers to decide for us? Let me give you an illustration. With some assistance, There are some pieces of paper with various instructions written on them, which Jason has volunteered to help me with. Now, your instructions, sir, are to choose 3 instructions from the pile I have given you and perform them in any order you choose. Entirely up to you. Pick 3, read it out, and then do it in any order you wish. He's thinking real hard. All right, go ahead.
Happy Sabbath, everybody. Happy Sabbath.
All right, very good. Why did you choose those instructions?
They just seem the most constructive to me.
Okay.
To other people.
So would you say then that the social pressure of the room decided you would choose that instead of something else?
Not necessarily.
Your own preferences?
Yeah.
So why didn't you choose bark like a dog?
Because I didn't want to make a fool out of myself.
Okay. So you chose what would be more comfortable for you and what you thought would be what you would like to do, right? Okay. Now, same thing, same set of instructions, but now I'm going to give you this. So go back to your seat and now choose 3 instructions in any order you wish.
Just color the first 3?
Nope, you can include them.
Happy Sabbath, everybody. Happy Sabbath.
Okay. So that was actually fairly similar. Most people, when they do this, don't choose to walk up to the front for their own. But there was a difference. The difference was I gave him an objective. His objective with those instructions was to touch the communion table. So he knows that barking like a dog and spinning around 3 times or doing rabbit ears on the person next to him is not going to help him get up here and touch the table.
She was worried about that.
She was worried about the rabbit ears? Not the barking like a dog, though.
She's looking forward to that.
So he chose things like stand up, go to the aisle, walk to the front. That would actually assist him in his objective of touch the table. See the difference? Good, thank you. You sit down now. Notice how the activities and the order changed when there was some objective to guide the goals. Without an objective to guide the goals, he chose just whatever he thought would fit best the situation, what would be less embarrassing, what would be more comfortable for him. And basic human nature says, without an overarching priority or objective, that is exactly how we will behave. We will do whatever and make whatever choices are most comfortable for us. Be that because of our own personal preferences or because of our desire to fit in with our peer group. That's just how we work. It has been said that someone's true values and priorities in life, as opposed to their professed priorities, but their true priorities can be discerned by examining their behaviors. So when you see someone who every single day has a double cheeseburger, a large Coke, and a bag of chips, do you believe them when they say that their priority is their health? No. Because their behavior reveals to you that that's probably not their real motivation. Let's revisit our idea of our task organization quadrant momentarily. Where would the things that fill your life from day to day fall? The stuff that consumes your time, your attention, your resources, your energies. Is it in the important categories or the not so important categories? And we can quickly see it's hard to tell whether they are important or not unless we assign an objective or a mission or reason for existence. If you don't have the priority of a healthy body and a healthy life, then what's the problem with eating cheeseburgers and Cokes and fries every day? It's not inconsistent, right? If you don't have that priority. It's not until you have that priority to guide and filter what you do, then you can then look at doing that and say, oh, I really shouldn't do that. I got to find somewhere else to eat for lunch every day. If your objective is to maintain or obtain a fit and healthy body, then is going out for donuts and stocking your freezer with ice cream important or urgent? No, because your objective tells you otherwise. If your objective is to have ice cream covered donuts every day, then absolutely that's an important priority. Do you understand? How about planning an exercise routine? If your objective is to maintain a fit and healthy body, then planning an exercise routine and figuring out what routine works for you is going to be important, maybe even urgent. Spending time learning about healthy dietary habits and the effects of different foods on the body. Are you going to spend time on that? Probably so. But if maintaining a fit and healthy body is not your priority, then that's probably just a waste of time. What if your mission is to give liberally to church and charitable causes? That might lead you to the objective or priority to be debt-free. And this would inform the prioritization of all kinds of activities, such as a family finance seminar to attend, grocery purchases, transportation decisions. Can you see how having a mission or objective helps you figure out what's important? And this can work two directions, as mentioned. A clear mission can guide our actions, and we can plot our actions and ask the question, what values and mission in life will lead me to that objective? And we can also say, what value and mission best match my actual behavior? Let's go back to my earlier question. Is there some objective standard of the value of a priority that we can depend on? I've titled the Sermon of Mice and Men after the poem in the 1700s. The guy was out plowing his field, and he runs the plow over a nest of mice and overturns it. And it got him to thinking about how that mouse built and got what he thought was the perfect location out, and built an underground house and stuffed it with straw and made these wonderful plans, and then here comes a plow and destroys it all. And people are often the subject of unforeseen circumstances as well. You make all of these plans and a tornado comes and rips apart your farm. And what good did all of those plans do? And his take on life through this poem is somewhat fatalistic. Like, it doesn't matter what you do, what you plan. All the best laid plans of mice and men come to naught. But Proverbs 19:21 tells us that there are many plans in a man's heart, but it's the Lord's counsel that will stand. This gives us our foundational truth for the day. There are many things we could plan around. There are many priorities that we could make the guiding principle in our life. Many people today are looking to social thought leaders, political thought leaders, to tell them what the priority of their life should be. There are many resolutions, objectives, and missions we could commit our energies to, and there are even many very good, godly, and biblical priorities and missions that we could dedicate our life to. But they are so much chaff under the plow unless they are in keeping with the Lord's counsel. Which then begs the question, how do I figure out what the Lord's counsel is? Consider these ways to discern the Lord's counsel in your life. First, ask the question, is my stated mission completely in keeping with the testimony of God's Word? Second, is my method of pursuing this also in keeping with the Word of God? Third, praying earnestly for guidance. Do I have conviction that God has chosen this for me in my particular situation? And finally, does the counsel of godly family and friends of my same faith confirm this? Notice I said counsel of those of the same faith, because those who do not subscribe to the same objective standard will not be useful to you. In fact, they're dangerous. Going to the world or to other faiths or other philosophies for counsel about something when they do not accept the same biblical worldview as you and the same fundamental truth as you is deadly. Let me give you a basic example. I've kind of been going on and on about the priorities of health, so let's sort of stay in that realm here. There are many people who are looking for a different diet or lifestyle or something that works for them to help them be healthy. And there are a lot of ideas out there. I see them advertised all the time on Facebook, on YouTube, and all kinds of things. And I'm not talking about just, here's the newest pill or the newest super drug or the newest supplement. There's a lot of that too. But I mean things like, for example, the paleo diet and the paleo lifestyle. You've got to be paleo, and foods get labeled as paleo, and there's a whole movement around it. I mean, do you understand where that philosophy comes from? It comes from the idea that we evolved from monkeys. And at the Paleolithic period, paleo, that's where it comes from, the Paleolithic period of mankind, we had this certain diet, according to them, which of course the whole thing is fake anyway, because there was no Paleolithic period anyway. But this is what humans evolved to eat, and then after that period came things like industrialization and mass migration and the settling down of humanity, and then the modifying and raising of crops. And humanity did not evolve with that. The changes happened faster than our evolution. Therefore, that's why we're unhealthy, because we're eating stuff that we didn't evolve to eat. We're eating stuff that industrialization put upon us, and all of the changes that are unnatural in the world put on us. So we've got to get back to where we were with our Paleolithic diet until we evolve another diet. That's the basic philosophy of paleo diet. You've got to get back to before. And of course, we don't want processed food. That's why some of these diets are very attractive to Adventists, because it ticks some of our boxes, right? Avoiding processed food, avoiding all of the stuff that comes out of the food industry. But is it safe to adopt for your lifestyle and your priorities a method of diet that is inspired by evolution? No. If the fundamental underlying philosophy of the thing is wrong, then it is not safe to accept it as counsel. This principle that I've given you a dietary example of plays out in all kinds of things. Medicine, how governments should relate to each other, how people should relate to their government, how parents should raise their children. Where do you go for counsel to help you pick your priorities in life? Someone who believes in the same objective standards is you. You have to. Otherwise, you end up with a spaghetti of it doesn't matter. You choose whatever you want to choose. It's all right according to some worldview. Without a clear mission and objective, it's too easy to just simply get into the rut of you doing whatever's been done before, doing what others are doing whatever random idea pops up and sounds good in your head at the time, doing whatever's easiest, doing whatever looks good or feels good, doing whatever they're doing on Facebook these days, etc., etc., etc. It's true in personal life. It's true in family life, and it's true in church life. It is said that people lose focus and lose the reason why they do something after about a month. Now, I'm not sure what that says for the attention span of humanity, but it is said in leadership circles that you have to remind people why they're doing what they're doing about every month. Because otherwise it just becomes what they're doing and they don't know why. We need to intentionally reevaluate and course correct to avoid the trap of falling into a rut or falling back into old habits because we are no longer being guided by that overarching principle and we fall back into, why am I doing this? I don't like doing this. I'm going to do this other thing. So I would like to challenge you this year, not to merely make a resolution, but to practice resolute living. Let me explain. First, prayerfully select an objective or mission to guide your activities this coming year and to inform your priorities. Spend some time in prayer. Lord, what is it going to be this year? What are you laying upon my heart and my life? Choose something significant. Something that actually requires your attention and effort, be it being more healthy and being able to run a marathon, or getting debt-free, or achieving a full, honest tithe and offering to my church. Something measurable and significant. Second, choose a word or short phrase that will characterize your objective or mission, such as family first, or intentional living, or honesty, or debt-free, or patience, or devoted, or whatever it is, your word or short phrase, and put it in a nice big font, print it out big and bold, put it on a canvas board or a board, or purchase a decorative plaque with your word on it, or paint it on something, and then put it where you'll see it and ponder it often. So you will be forced on a more often interval than 1 month to see it and have to spend some time thinking about it. Next, take specific actions to implement your objective. Most goals and objectives can be broken down, if you think about it, of, well, here's some things I need to do to get there. Add them to your task list. Decide how you're going to spend time doing it. And then, once a month, there's that once a month thing again. There's a reason for it. Once a month, do a progress check. Evaluate your actual behavior in light of your mission, and then make adjustments as you need. Once a month, spend an hour or 3 thinking about how you've done, affirming the value of your objective, and deciding what needs to be done next to further your priorities. Make adjustments to your life where needed. I challenge you to implement this in your personal life and in your family unit. Families need a reason to exist as well. Beyond just survive the day, get everybody through it, sleep, repeat. If you're willing to accept this challenge of resolute living, going beyond just making a resolution, but actually making it a lifestyle, I encourage you to stand where you are. So you know what? This starts here. If you are willing to perform resolute living, just stand up. And I encourage us collectively, the Hammond Seventh-day Adventist Church, to implement this in our church. To first seek God for his mission for us, then to acknowledge it, publish it, and constantly ponder that statement of purpose or mission that identifies us as a church. Each church member could then more easily ponder, what do I need to do to contribute? Every ministry and activity can more readily then recognize how their efforts can fit into the question, what more can we do toward this goal? As well as, where do we need to trim the irrelevant activity? We could then filter every board and business action through the filter of priorities that this purpose would provide, preventing us from entering a frenzy of unfocused activity in an honest effort to do something, improve our church, and provide safeguards against remaining in the rut of, well, this is the way we've always done it. This is what's expected of us. Other churches do it this way. We would then, as a church, periodically and intentionally reevaluate and course correct as needed to make best progress toward the objective God places before us. If you as a church would like to embrace that journey, I invite you to step out of your pew and join together at the front for a special moment of prayer as we seek God's direction together, as we seek his revelation of purpose for us individually and as a church.